And a big good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gantry TV. It's Tuesday night, it's 27 degrees. It's perfect weather for a bunch of nerds to sit in front of their computers and play video games. It's RTA Virtual Motorsports indyNXT Championship live from America's National Park of Speed, Road America. The track that featured the most recent indyNXT race on the real life calendar, and we are taking to the circuit here tonight. It has been a scintillating season so far, with the championship still very much in the balance, and with all the front runners in attendance here this evening, there is big points on offer, and we could have a big change in the championship order. My name's Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Ronan Hederman is behind the scenes, and we should have Kevin Galvin joining with us once he's out of the beer garden or whatever he may be doing on this fine Tuesday evening. He will be here at some point tonight. But Road America, what a fantastic circuit, located near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, on the Wisconsin Highway 67. It is not too far from the cities of Milwaukee and Green Bay. Really, really fast circuit, one of the longest we'll be visiting in this calendar season. 6.515 kilometers, 4.048 miles. Officially 14 corners. That's another Evan Corner rant coming up later on for you folks to enjoy. But we should have a good evening of racing tonight. 13 drivers here tonight, folks, so there's a lot of points on offer. We will have hopefully some close racing nonetheless. But a big welcome to you watching along at home. Great to see the stream chat hopping as ever. And we'll have a quick look at who's joining us here tonight. Before we get into the main championship standings, say hello to Sam, as always, of Emerald Car Shots Photography, saying, Evan, you sound a little bit under the weather. No, voice is a little bit gone with thanks to Dublin GAA. Just on that, if you're a fan of the Donegal football team. You suck. That one's directed to Jordan Kelly. Hello to Eddie, who's watching along at home, as well as Jay Pesso, who says, Kevin, the boys are back. Good to have you all along with us here this evening. Right, RTA indyNXT Championship. What's happened over the last 5 rounds? Well, last week we were in Watkins Glen, where it was a Camto Chukwa masterclass. 2 wins and a second place. Could have easily took the third, but the prodigy that is Dylan McClements was able to take the maximum. But that does leave Harvey Dara at the top of the standings, and last week potentially a drop round for the Northern Irishman. But he leads with 342 points. Tony Griffin on second with 287, tied with Dylan McClements on 287, tied with Jan Zoudzavella on 287. Wow, that is very close in the battle for second. Camto Chukwa then in 5th position on 248, 2 points out of Sean McClements, 246. But he's out of the championship pretty much because he's going to have another no score here this evening. He's too busy at... I wanted to make a joke about Zach Bryan, but I actually think he's such an awful artist that I can't even think of a joke. He's at that this evening. So that'll be 2 0-point rounds for him, meaning 1 will be the drop and then 1 will be a 0 point. So going to be difficult to recover from that in the championship. Lee Cogan in 7th on 244, Conor Melia in 8th on 204, Kevin Joyce in 9th on 186, and then Dara O'Connor in 10th on 173. But Camto was the pace setter last week in Watkins Glen for practice all throughout the evening. Harvey Dara seems to be the pace setter here tonight with a 149.9 in practice, but that was a very low fuel run with a little bit of an interesting interpretation of track limits as we're getting into qualifying. This Road America circuit is a staple in the world of IndyCar racing, one of the famous venues of IndyCar and indyNXT, of course. Has hosted NASCAR and IMSA as well, and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, visiting the famous circuit over the last few years. To give you a little bit of a history behind its terribly named corners, it is officially named as having 14 corners due to the 14 working stations around the circuit. So your Marshall Post 1, 2, 3, there's 14 of them. So that's where it gets 14 rather than having the 14 listed corners. The original cost to build the circuit on the property of the Elkhart Sand and Gravel Company was $175,000. That would get you a 1-bedroom hostel bed in the centre of Dublin City, based on modern day currencies, or a nice 4-bedroom house in Leitrim. The circuit was based off random parts of roads that the founder of the track was Cliff Jufte, just found quite interesting. So as he was driving along the highways, Highway 67 in Wisconsin, um, parts of the circuit that he found quite interesting, he just put in the track. And I mean, that's the dream for us all, isn't it? And it is, of course, known as America's National Park of Speed due to the beautiful scenery around Elkhart Lake. You can see a little render of it in the back right corner, but Ronan Henneman's PC is running hot enough as it is, so we're not going to get a better render of that one. Qualifying now getting underway, and I'm going to bring that very man in, Mr. Henneman. Ronan, small grid, but sometimes in RTA they can provide entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's been a great season up to this point. I hear a lot of people not liking this card too much. It's very tricky, and I think any of the guys that got the benefit of the probably very hot Monday practice are going to do well here. I know I heard a few expletives in the pre-race chat.
So it'll be interesting to see who. Well, actually, what I am going to say is whoever. Or hold on, right. I've got to get a point right before I start talking. It's a bit of an endurance race this evening with the heat. Usually, sim racing very much focused on the mental aspect of racing rather than the physical. But tonight, we could actually have some physical aspects coming in because it is so warm. The temperature, and I believe it was Captain Choco who pointed out in the Discord, the temperature in the air here in Elkhart Lake is actually 7 degrees cooler than it is currently in Naas, County Kildare. So it's 20 degrees air temperature here in Elkhart Lake for the virtual RTA Virtual Motorsport race. It's about 26, 27. Oh, he said the funny numbers here in Kildare, so it'll be interesting. But we're looking at Camsto Chukwa. He's looking to have an all-night revival here in Road America and get back up near towards the top of the standings. Has been a two-time pole sitter this season, and we're going to ride on board as he heads up the hill around the 6.515 kilometre circuit up the Road America straight. You're looking for turn number one. There's cones on the left-hand side that you'll see approaching, nice orange cones. You're looking to brake at the third one of them, so just bang on the brakes. It's a very fast high-speed turn number one. Don't run too wide, though, as you do see the grass there kicks up nicely. This is technically turn two. Now you're down towards turn number three. Got to be very careful on the exit of this curb because there's not a lot of it, and you can pick up a 1x very easy and invalidate your lap. Now you're down in towards the Moraine Sweep, a corner Camto Chugwa knows very well in RTA Virtual Motorsport because of the carnage he caused there. But this is turn number 5. You're looking for the two board on the outside, and then you're rotating all the way through. Outside of that corner, very bumpy, so you've got to be careful where you place your car under the Corvette sponsorship in through the left of turn number 6, using the flat curbs both inside and outside of the corners. The exact same through turn number 7 before you reach Hurry Downs, which is into turn number 8. Very tight turn number 8, a real overtaking opportunity, but these cars are quite quick through all of these corners. Now you're into the famous carousel. Under the famous Speedville sponsorship, the carousel is a balancing act. You've got to make sure it's one smooth throttle application through here, otherwise you're losing time. You can run wide very easy, and you can see there's no curb on the outside of that corner. Now it's the kink, the fastest corner on the circuit. Pin it through here flat. If you're brave enough, you'll be fast enough. If you're not brave enough, what are you doing here at Road America? It's before the Canada corner, after Kettle Bottoms, which is the name of the straight here. Turn number 12, bad crash here in IndyCar at the weekend between Graham Rahal and Will Power, and Camto has a little bit of a snap on the exit of that. Now it's through the uphill left-hander. You can take a lot more speed through here than you think, and Camto pins it through there beautifully for the Bill Mitchell bend. Now it's turn number 14, the final corner, and use all of the exit here possible. Camto does, right along the curve. That's an excellent banker lap from the man from Dunboyne, heading up the hill. The elevation change, it's a bit like a rouge. You never really truly know how big it is, but that is a beautiful lap from Camto up across the start-finish line to get things started here in qualifying. I don't think it's counted though, so he obviously picked up a 1x somewhere along the way, but it was still a nice lap nonetheless. Gave us a good look at it, but it is Jan Zoutzavella who is the quickest so far. Harvey Dara in second. Dylan McClements has just beaten him, so he's gone to second position. And it is Harvey Dara in third. Lee Cogan in fourth. Dara O'Connor in fifth position. So we're still waiting on the rest of the field, which is ironically not that many drivers to complete a lap. Now we're going to have a look at a replay. Very rare we get replays in qualifying. We'll see who this is. So that's number 12. That's Jan Zoutzavella, heading down the start-finish straight in towards turn number 1. There's Camto in front of him. And here is Zoudevella. Is he clipping cones or is he taking it? Oh, that's a failure. That's a hardware failure. It looks like he could use a sim consultant down towards the first corner. That's not what you're supposed to do through there. I know sometimes my lap guides can be a bit shoddy, but I guarantee you that's not how you're supposed to take that corner. Now we're looking at Dylan McClements. What a streak he's on here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. The king of Heat 3. He's won the last three in Miami, Phoenix, and Watkins Glen. But interestingly enough, he's had to come from down the order in all of them. Didn't finish in the top 10 in Heat 2 in Miami because he miscalculated when the race ended and pulled off a lap early. So that was a disaster. In Phoenix, he won Heat 3 from outside the top 10. Watkins Glen, he won Heat 3 from 10th. So he hasn't actually finished above 10th in the last three Heat 2s. He's won all Heat 3. And you may be thinking, oh, well, he benefited from the reverse grid. The reverse grid only goes down to 8th position. Dylan has had to win every single one of them with extreme effort being put in. He'd like to make it a little bit simpler tonight and maybe take his fourth Heat 3 win on the spin. He's used to racing these American circuits, also racing in the iRacing Skip Barber Championship, which is in the F4 car, funnily enough. Was racing at Sonoma last week, which is a very weird one for the iRacing service. You never usually see Sonoma, the NASCAR track, of course. A very interesting track, a very difficult track. But if you hook it up nicely, you really do hook it up. Was in an unfortunate incident after a very strong Heat 1 there, Dylan McClements, when he got clipped from someone behind through no fault of his own. So even in the top iRacing series, you still get petty incidents. But it is Harvey Dara who was on pole so far here with a 50.3. Jordan Kelly was shouting about his practice lap in qualifying. As Shan says, he did a Rosberg. He went quickest and pulled off a side. As good to see the chat still nice and active. And by that I mean Sam talking to himself. But good to have you here, Sam. We have 8 minutes to go in qualifying. Sam saying, think before you speak, Evan. I think you may have offended Geraldine with that Zach Bryan comment. Yeah, I got to be careful, otherwise she's not going to let me into her house. But no, Zach Bryan is great if you're into that sort of thing. Ronald Hederman, Zach Bryan fan?
Nope.
Fair enough. Speaking on the topics of concerts and RTA drivers, we'll have more coming later with Kevin Galvin. I'm going to save him because it's his joke that he wants to say, but more coming later. Much worse than Zach Bryan, so we're only gracing the surface here. Yeah, but stick around for that one, folks. 8 minutes gone here in qualifying. Actually, we're on Hederman. Who would be your music artist of choice?
Foo Fighters, probably. That'd be
Bad,
my.
not bad. Peter
That's.
McCann was at Metallica at the weekend.
I was supposed to be there. Someone didn't get me tickets.
Was it
We'll
Peter
leave.
McCann?
Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Oh. Fair enough. I was also at a show at the weekend, and it was a show of absolute class from the Dublin GAA footballers. Up the Dubs, Donegal are gone. Kevin Joyce we're looking at in sixth place now. Yeah, Geraldine, I'm treading very carefully with that one. As Kevin Joyce in sixth now. That was a wobble. Is that Tony Griffin who's had a wobble in front? Or no, it was Harvey Dara. Oh, it was Tony Griffin. Oh, Tony is all sorts of out of shape. Wouldn't be too out of place at a Drift Masters now with Tony Griffin. Actually, another question for Ronald Hedeman. I know I'm bringing you in quite a bit here. Why haven't they... Oh, lordy, Tony Griffin, you need to cool those tyres down. Why haven't they got a single-seater class at Drift Masters?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
Probably for... But why don't they have a single-seater class?
Are you just so bored right now that you're just bringing me in to upset me?
Why? Give me a reason. Why don't they have a single-seater class at Drift Masters?
Because there's no angle. I don't know, Evan. Like it's not.
Why don't they? You're not giving me an answer. Okay, folks. So folks, what you do? What that was a masterclass in. That was a masterclass in filling a couple of minutes of a broadcast while you think of something else to speak about. So The Evan Dalton Broadcasting School will be coming soon. Now, I've actually failed because I still don't have anything to speak about other than that Tony Griffin is absolutely diffing this car around Road America. It's still Harvey Dara on pole. The rest are all on out laps. It is quite a long lap here at Road America in the 150s. We're not going to get many laps in the race, and that could be quite interesting because with fairly limited overtaking opportunities at Road America, you really got to make your move stick when you can. See, that was the masterclass because I lured you into a false sense of security that I didn't have anything else to speak about, but I did. It was just in the back pocket and I was saving it. You see what I did there? This is an awful broadcast so far, but hopefully the race is a little bit better. Sam giving us an actual reason. He says, let's throw in throw a 2J in a Dallara IL15, which is our car, our indyNXT car, and sling it into outer free at Mondello, because that's ever going to happen. Why can't it happen? Someone give me an actual answer. There's no reason it can't happen. No? What's that? Oh, big lap from Jan Zoutivella. Goes to second position. I guarantee you he could drift a single-seater. Roller's not even bothering to speak now. Fair enough. Well, Eddie Shredder in the comments is a little legend here. He says if it had a linear boost curve, it'd be possible. It does have a linear, a linear throttle setting, so that may count. Sam, but it's not. But it's not stupid. Why is it stupid? Someone said, "Why can't we land men on the moon?" And someone replied from NASA, "Because it's stupid." Someone said, "Why can we not fly around the world? Why can we not do transatlantic flight?" And someone went, "Because it's stupid." Someone said, "Why can we not race for 24 hours straight at one of the greatest circuits in the world?" And someone said, "Because it's stupid." Do you think that stopped any of them, men? Do you think that stopped? And do you think that stopped innovation, investigation, knowledge, excellence? So why can't we drift a single seater? Why? Why can't we drift a single seater? Did that stop all the great men from exploring foreign lands because it's stupid? No, it didn't. So we should be able to drift a single seater. And that's my final thoughts on that. Jan Zoutivella and Dylan McClements giving us something to talk about. Kevin's going to come into this and go, "What in the world is happening?" Ken Doyle improves to 6th. Dylan McClements improves to 2nd. These guys are going on to their final laps here in qualifying. Jan Zoutivella crosses the start-finish line to no improvement. He was 7/10 of a second down on that lap. It is remarkably close between Kamsa Chukwa and Dylan McClements, and Dylan has really got to put in a good time here. He'll be on the front row anyways, and it is a long run down towards turn number 1 here at Road America. But Dylan McClements is pushing. He wants pole position. He wants to be the number 1 in RTA as always, and his first sector is tracking okay. He's clipped a little bit of the grass there as he's heading up in towards turn number 6 and in towards turn number 7 as we see Tony Griffin improving. Ronan Keane has improved. Tony Griffin, there we go. He's up to 5th, but it was a good time by Griffin. Still 6/10 off pole, but it is good enough for 5th position. Dylan McClements, you can see it's the rainbow at the bottom of his timing ticker, and he's pulled off. He's lost time, so it won't be pole for Dylan McClements. He's pulled off early. It was purple in sector number 2, but no improvement in sector 3, meaning he's pulled off early, and it's looking like no one will be able to beat Kamsa Chukwa. There's not a lot who'll be able to complete their times. Kamsa will be one of them. He's coming up towards the start-finish line now. Purple sector 4. Is this going to be an improvement from Chukwa, who set the first lap in qualifying? Is he going to set the fastest lap in qualifying? He has fastest, but he hasn't improved. Here comes Harvey Dara. He's looking to beat him right at the dead, heading up the hill for the final corner. Little bit of a wobble, but he is picking up a slipstream from Kevin Joyce ahead. And here comes Harvey Dara up across the start-finish line. And is it going to be pole position for the Northern Irishman? Up across, it doesn't seem to be an improvement for now. And no, not going to be an improvement for Dara. He'll remain on the second row. And these are the final times of the session. Kamsa Chukwa looks like he's going to remain on pole position with Dylan McClements in second. Can Jan Zoutivella have a final song up across the start finish line? Doesn't seem to be tracking well. Seemed like he backed off it up and no improvement for Jan Soutavella. Tony Griffin, we saw, finished his lap as well, so he won't improve. So with 30 seconds to go in qualifying, it's very reminiscent of the old 2016 F1 qualifying format, where we have it decided before the death, and it will be Kamto Chiokawa on pole position here in Road America. Dylan McClements will be alongside him on the front row. Harvey Darrett in third, then Jean Zoutevella in fourth. Tony Griffin in fifth position with Lee Cogan in sixth. Very interesting qualifying, very close qualifying between the top two. So interesting to see, can they have a fight down towards the first corner. So confirmation of those results, and it is 0.041 that separates Kamto Chukwa and Dylan McClements on pole position. It is the Mavic Esports driver who takes his second consecutive pole and third of the season. Harvey Dara then in third, Jan Soutavella in fourth, Tony Griffin in fifth, Lee Cogan in sixth, Kevin Joyce in seventh, Jordan Kelly in eighth, Ken Doyle in ninth, Dara O'Connor in tenth, and it's Adam Dowling, Ronan Keane and Niall Stevens to round out the order. Ronan Henneman, I don't know how you're feeling, but it's getting very warm doing this.
Yeah, I'm boiling in this broadcast box. Yeah, I think this
Broadcast
could.
box, you're in your bedroom, mate.
I'm in my bedroom. Yeah, broadcast box. I'm trying to maintain the illusion, Evan. I'm trying to maintain some form of illusion, considering that this broadcast has literally turned to the SH. But yeah, I think that this is going to be very reminiscent of last week. I think this is going to be a case of there's going to be a hell of a squabble in the, say, second to, let's say, fifth position, and whoever's out front is going to maintain a nice lead, and then when they need to, they're just going to take off with their push to pass. So I'm going to call it now.
Big thanks to all of you for sticking with us. Eddie Shredder saying I'm supposed to be building training docks, but instead I'm here dealing with y'all non-AC having goofs. Yeah, fair enough. I've hydrated a little bit, so it should be a little bit better. Eddie saying the broadcast basement. No, that's what he called something else. I was convinced now until that Ronan was a professional broadcasting booth, if that helps. Yeah, fair enough, Sam. I mean, we had a nice snazzy little setup for the scholarship stream, so that was quite cool. Yeah, I wish we were doing this in Iceland or something. Although we give out about the rain, and now we've sun. Here we go now. So, 5 red lights coming on. Kamto Chocobo on the inside. Dylan McClements on the outside on the road down towards turn number 1 as we go racing here in Road America. It's an excellent start from Shan Zoutavella, and he could be the real challenger down towards the first corner. Dylan McClements has covered him off on the inside, but Zoutavella has enough momentum around the outside in towards turn number 1. Dylan McClements, though, keeps the foot in and pushes Shan Zoutavella wide. Shan was always going to be shown the door there, and he's ran onto the grass, very Christian Longard-esque, and now in towards the right-hander. It is Kamto Chukwa who leads. Dylan McClements in second. Harvey Darrett in third. Lee Cogan is in fourth. Jan Zoutavella in fifth. Jumpstart for Ronan Keane down the back. So unfortunately, he'll have a drive-through penalty to serve. Here comes Tony Griffin on the tail of the Dutchman. Jan Zoutavella down towards the Moraine sweep. In through turn number 5. It's a lunge from Zoutavella on Lee Cogan in front. And Lee Cogan is forced to the outside. He's not able to make the move. And Tony Griffin has had to pull off. He's got to slow down. Oh, it's horror for Tony Griffin. Used too much entrance on the outside of that corner, which you can use a little bit, but Tony clearly overstepping the mark there. As down towards the right-hander, big lunge from Kevin Joyce, who's running a very similar livery to what he ran in his real-world Formula V debut. He's running it here on the indyNXT, and they're side-by-side through the carousel. Lee Cogan leads Kevin Joyce and down towards the kink in the Canada corner. You can get a monster of a slipstream here, but these two are side-by-side. Kevin Joyce, is he going to brave it around the outside for the kink? Oh, he is! That's oh so difficult to do. Joseph Newgarden, amongst many, has come a cropper through there, but not Kevin Joyce, who's full committed around the outside, and now he's going to have to pull a brave one off into the Canada corner. Uses a bit of grass on the entrance, and that allows Tony Griffin, the Kerryman, to sneak back through. What a beauty of a move from Tony Griffin to get in front of Kevin Joyce, who braved it through the kink, but was not brave enough. Very interesting opening lap here at Road America. Kamto Chukwa leads. Dylan McClements in second. Now push to pass is active, and I imagine both these guys will be on the button ASAP. Look at the slipstream Dylan McClements is getting. Kamto's burning the button. Dylan happy, just using the straight line speed of the slipstream. He's going to try clean round the outside. Oh, what a move by Dylan McClements. That's why he's the best. And Harvey Dara not able to get past as well. Camto will have the slipstream on the exit of turn number 3 down towards the Moraine sweep at the left-hander. Harvey Dara will be looking to get involved. These are 3 of the championship protagonists who are fighting for this indyNXT series, and there's only a handful of weeks left in it, so every point counts here at Road America. But it's the young Northern Irishman who is up in front. Camto Chugwe in second. Harvey Dara is in third. Lee Cogan, Kevin Joyce still side by side, and Joyce goes for another unorthodox move down the inside. That pushes Cogan wide. He had to leave adequate space, and Tony Griffin once again is looking to become a beneficiary of it. Jordan Kelly is just behind these in the green machine that you can see, the basic livery, and Tony Griffin not able to get back past. What an opening couple of laps this is here at Road America. It is quality over quantity here in RTA Virtual Motorsport, and that is what we love to see. Dylan McClemens still not really burning the button. Both Camto and Harvey are on it, and Harvey Dara's going to try the Kevin Joyce move around the outside for the Canada corner, but it's not going to work out. He'll stay behind, tucked into the slipstream, and he'll get the run up the hill on the main straight, all going well. Road America, a place of significance, both Dylan and Sean having won here, so a real place of significance for Team Diddy Orvis. Oh, there's Jordan Kelly, and that's a destroyed indyNXT machine. That must have been a vicious bit of contact off the concrete on the inside. We may need to take a look at a replay of that one once the incident's finished, and yeah, we'll take a look at it now. So Jordan Kelly, as this always bodes well, doesn't it? There's Kevin Joyce, Tony Griffin, Lee Cogan, and Jordan Kelly on the outside of Lee Cogan. Here was there a little bit of contact between the two as he sweeps around the outside, just carried too much speed. Did he clip the grass on the outside and bang? Oh, that's such an impact for Jordan Kelly. You'd be heading way up the G-force monitor there, but just clipped the grass on the outside of the of Thunder Valley in the Bill Mitchell bend. I was chucked into the wall, unfortunately. No return move. As a squirrely from Tony Griffin. It's a fixed setup in RTA Virtual Motorsport, but suddenly Tony Griffin must be running a different brake bias setting or something, because he's a lot more out of shape than the rest of the drivers. It's all about managing your tyres in this championship as well, and that's what Dylan and Camto are both so good at, both so smooth on the inputs. We might take a look on board with Camto Chukwa here and see how he takes the kink in the Canada corner and see is he able to gain on Dylan McClemens. But you'll watch the inputs for the final sector. It'll be oh so smooth in comparison to Griffin, maybe, who's not as experienced in single-seater machinery and will be sliding all over the place. But watch for the Canada corner. It'll be one input in for Chukwa, and look, there no, it's about 4 to be fair, so that's a horrid example. Thank you very much, Captain, for that. But this corner will be a lot better. Just one smooth in, as we're not going to get a look at it because Lee Cogan has taken a trip to the beach, and he's been shoved wide, I would guess, through there. Now going to be overtaken by Dara O'Connor, who will go clean round his outside. Lee Cogan will have the tricky task of taking the gravel off his tyres, and he'll stick behind Dara O'Connor, and there's a spin for Niall Stevens behind, and Stevens falls behind Ken Doyle. So Doyle now up to 9th, and Niall Stevens, unfortunately with that spin, down to 10th, but they're side by side for 7th. This is Lee Cogan and Dara O'Connor, and Lee Cogan pulls back in front very confidently. Ahead, has had the pace, but just an unfortunate, either a mistake or an incident. There's Tony Griffin, Lunge of Dreams, down the inside. He's not going to get the exit though. That will belong to the James Friel racing machine of Kevin Joyce, down towards the left-hander. And Griffin back in the slipstream, but Kevin Joyce will remain in front unless there's a masterclass around the outside from Tony Griffin, which there could well be. And he's broke a lot later than Kevin Joyce, and Tony Griffin, he's been shown the door there, and Kevin does leave him adequate space on the rejoin, which is really good of him to do. Not that time though, oh lordy, he's not left him any space. He's ended on top of the Kerry man, and that is disastrous. We may need to take a look at the onboard of that one. It seemed like Kevin just ran Griffin out of road, and Griffin really had nowhere to go. He's now running the oval spec with no wing on the front or back, but we will take a look here in through the left-hander. So this was good to Joyce, left him space, and then in through here. Does he just wash out of the corner? Oh, yeah. If I'm Tony, I'm feeling fairly aggrieved there. It did seem like Kevin just lunged it and washed out wide, but yeah, big damage for both those machines. I would be feeling fairly aggrieved if I was Tony Griffin in that scenario, because he's lost out on good points there, and Griffin's still an outsider for the championship. Led it for the opening 2 rounds, of course. So yeah, disappointing there for Tony Griffin. He's one of those tied on 287 points, so he will feel that this could be a big loss this evening. Already has a tricky drop round from the oval race. It's very interesting to see what happens. Battle still ongoing up the front. Dylan McClements has checked out a little bit, but these folks behind are still in the slipstream. And you can see now with Harvey Dara, but McClements managing his push to pass well. Camto has burned quite a lot, so that's obviously in an attempt to remain with the race leader. Harvey Dara, though, just doing it all on natural pace. If we look at the last lap times, yeah, Camto 50.6, Dylan 50.2, and then Harvey Dara 50.3. So Harvey Dara setting a personal best on the last lap. McClements with a 50 flat is his fastest lap. So Camto is definitely compensating for lack of pace by burning through that push to pass, but it runs out eventually, and he can't afford to use too much of it, and they got very close for comfort through the carousel. Harvey Dara now tucked in behind Camto Chukwa. Oh no! It's a big mistake for Harvey Dara, and the championship leader spins round. He's kept the car out of the wall, but he ran wide for the carousel. Just what we said you had to avoid doing. Clip that grass where there's no runoff, and that is a huge spin for Harvey Dara. Did very well not to hit the wall and ricochet back out on the circuit. Bit of a heavy rejoin. But wow, that's a big mistake, and we watched it happen. He just ran wide for the carousel, maybe a bit of dirty air chucked all over the front wing of that, but he spun round, and that promotes Jan Zouteveld onto the podium, and Dara O'Connor now in fourth, but will be under pressure on this last lap from Harvey Dara, who lunges down his inside, so Harvey Dara is looking to regain places, but oh, he's had another moment, and he's almost collected Dara O'Connor with him. Harvey's got to compose himself here, and they're side by side heading up the hill down towards the first corner. Lee Cogan's looking to split down the middle, and he's now in the slipstream of Dara O'Connor. Has a lot of push to pass to use. There's Ken Doyle behind these, so he's still in the fight, and Harvey Dara now lunges it round the outside. Has the pace advantage, but look how loose that race car is of the number 6, and it is all over the place at the rear. He's clipping grass left, right and centre. He's got to cool those rear tyres down, otherwise he's going to slide out of the off-camber sections of this circuit. Weave, Dara, weave down the main straight, and he is looking to remain in fourth, which would be one of his best results of the championship so far. And Ken Doyle's going to try and move around the outside of Lee Cogan here. These are crucial points for the minor places in the championship. Don't rule out those guys for picking up maybe a top 5, but Dara O'Connor looking for his best result since Miami, which was also fourth in heat number 3, sits fourth here now, but I imagine Harvey Dara will be trying to get past him. Don't go for anything too rash, Harvey, would be the advice of his engineer if he had one. It's only 2 points in the difference, really, between 4th or 5th. Could be championship ending. That's what decided the IndyCar series when Dylan McClements beat Ronan Doherty by 2 points at Barber Motorsports Park. Camto Chukwa defending from Jan Zouteveld, though, so Camto has a whole world of pain to deal with here, and Jan is picking up some gravel and some marbles on his tyres, and he's lost out big through the uphill section. Harvey Dara's got past Dara O'Connor behind, and they won't be side by side. Dara O'Connor now under pressure. Oh, Harvey Dara, it's another mistake, and that's what we were saying. He, in pursuit of 2 extra points, has just lost 6 or 8. Disastrous heat 2 for Harvey Dara in all aspects. Dylan McClements takes the win. Camto Chukwa will come home in second, and now it's a drag race to the line as they head across the final furlong, and Lee Cogan is trying to catch Dara O'Connor, and Ken Doyle's trying the Kevin Estra round the outside. Lee Cogan will take fourth by 7 thousandths of a second. Dara O'Connor in 5th position. Then it's Ken Doyle, Kevin Joyce, Harvey Dara. Harvey comes home in 8th in that one. It could have well been 4th if he had timed his braking right. So that is what he could have lost. Or that is what he could have lost. That is what he did lose. And terrible for Harvey Dara. Adam Dowling going to come across the line in 10th for his one mention on the stream this evening. And Ronan Keane coming home in 11th position. Here's Tony Griffin. Now, Tony will also be disappointed with that one after the incident with Kevin Joyce. Kevin did very well to finish in seventh after absolutely milling a young lad out of it. So fair play to him, who comes home behind Ken Doyle. Look, what an action-packed first heat that was. Dylan McClements takes the win out of Camto Chukwa. Shans Outavella in third, Lee Cogan in fourth. Dara O'Connor comes home in fifth. Ken Doyle in sixth. Kevin Joyce in seventh. Then Harvey Darren, Niall Stevens, Adam Dowling, Ronan Keane, Tony Griffin. And unfortunately, a non-finish for Jordan Ricochet Kelly, who hits the concrete. But Ronan Hedman, just to bring you in quickly for a sub of water purposes, very hectic race.
Yeah, mental. That you called it so right with Harvey Dara. It's like the red mist just absolutely descended on him there, and he just never actually fully recovered. But yeah, let's get ready for race two.
Yeah, we're getting ready now. It's an inside joke that it's a quick turnaround in RTA for heat number 2, but it really is. And now we go racing here in the American National Parker Speed once again. And Jan Zoutevelo and Camto Chukwa are almost free wide with Dylan McClements. As he's coming through the right-hander at turn number 1, and McClemens breaks a lot later, uses all of that curb, and there must be something in the orange curbing because that has gripped him up through the right-hander, and an excellent move from Dylan. Jan Zoutevella in second. They're too wide behind, and Adam Dowling, here we go, second mention for Adam. He's doing well this evening. Is trying to get past Tony Griffin on the run down to the straight, and Dylan McClemens still in the lead, but Jan Zoutevella looking to try and attack round the outside. Breaks early, does Jan Zoutevella, went for the switchback, but you've got to get out of bed a lot earlier if you want to pull that one off on Dylan McClemens. Tony Griffin side by side for the second time through this corner, but he's on the inside this time. Kevin Joyce played it very cautious, it's safe to say. Didn't want to pick up another 15 points, and he won't. But he will pick up a 1x and a load of grass on his tyres, disappointingly. Here is Dara O'Connor fighting with Harvey Dara. That's Harvey, you can see in the Dex Images sponsored livery through the carousel. This is where he made that initial mistake in heat number 1 and will be looking to avoid doing so here in heat number 2. As Eddie asking about the feature, that will be the next heat. So heat 3 will be reversed. Top 8. Dara O'Connor now still side by side with Harvey Dara. And Harvey, who's just become a ghost car, is down the inside. And big lunge from Harvey Dara. Uses all the muck on the inside to rotate through. And playing through the dirt is Harvey Dara. He's now up to 5th position. Tony Griffin, who's up 5 places on this opening lap and has a lot of pace in his pocket. Oh, he's nipped the side of Dara O'Connor, lucky to avoid an incident. But Tony Griffin remaining in 7th place for now. And he's up 5 spots still, is the Kerryman. But he's under pressure from YouTube extraordinaire Ken Doyle behind. And Ken just backed off. Didn't fancy burning his push to pass this early in the heat. This is, of course, the 15-minute heat, so you've got a lot more race management to do. Track conditions. Tony Griffin, a little bit wide. His track conditions won't be ideal for the next couple of laps, but what I was going to say is track conditions not too warm, so managing the tyres should be okay. It's just here at home where everything is a bit too warm, and Jan Zoutevella is trying the outside, and Dylan McClemens once again. And Dylan runs him out of road perfectly, precisely, and to the legal limits. Is he allowed to do so? But Jan Zoutevella's got into the rear tail light of the indyNXT machine in front. That's lost some time. May have given him damage, but it's certainly put him under pressure from Camto Chukwa and Lee Cogan behind. And usually on these small gridded fields at big circuits, we see a standout name amongst the pack, and that is certainly Lee Cogan here in Road America. Cogan was not in the top 10 in heat number 3 or 2 last week. Did get 9th in heat number 1, running very steady in the top 5 here in Elkhart Lake. But 3 minutes gone here at Road America, and it is Dylan McClemens in the race lead. Jan Zoutevella in second. Jan was keeping close with Dylan, but that little mistake has cost him a bit of time. Here comes Tony Griffin once again. He would be a brave man to lunge one down the inside of Ken Doyle from that far back. Ken did have a look himself on Dara O'Connor in front, but it was to no avail. And Tony, he's just bouncing that car on the limit, isn't he? And look at this. We're talking about drifting single seaters. Tony is not far off, and he is wheeling this thing around Road America. Very entertaining to watch, but Jordan Kelly has found a way past because of that poor exit. And That's bad out from Ken. He was giving Jordan the slipstream. And Tony Griffin on the inside. That was never going to end well. That was never going to end well. And he has clipped Ken Doyle. Relatively got away with it, I think. We may need to take another look at that one from Tony's onboard, because that was a monster of a move. And I don't think any spotter in the world, even the real ones, would have got the free wide call out quick enough there, because Tony lunged it from far back. Apologies for the inaudible scream, but that took me by surprise down towards turn number 1. Let's have a look here. So there's Tony Griffin on the inside. Ken Doyle moves. At this point, you'd be thinking Griffin's boxed in. He thinks different. Oh, look at that. Ken Doyle, bit of airtime and all. Like, the arc Jordan Kelly's taken through the corner even is aggressive. How he took that line and managed to take that line with 2 cars on his inside is ridiculous. As all know, Dara O'Connor in the 73 has gone on the entrance to the carousel. As we see Griffin and Kelly once again fighting. And oh, there we go. That's a bit of a close camera, a close look at Jordan Kelly down towards the Canada corner. Jordan, who I believe is on controller for this evening. Not sure if he's on. Oh no, he is at home. He's on the simulator. Which, I mean, if he was keeping up with the front runners on controller, that would be a little bit ridiculous, especially around a track as demanding as Road America. Who, fun fact, I was quicker than Jordan at Road America. It was a 1-lap shootout and he crashed on his, but I was still in theory quicker. So that counts, I guess. As down towards turn number 1, Tony Griffin remains in front as Camto, Jean, Dylan, still your podium at the top. I thought Camto was live streaming his POV, but he actually just posted a link to this stream, so that would be a little stupid to promote Gantry TV on Gantry TV. But please do feel free to pop a subscription if you're enjoying the action here at Road America, if you're enjoying the totally professional and excellent commentary. As Sam saying, on today's episode of Evan comparing himself to RTA drivers, yeah, it's sort of a running theme at this point. What else can I compare to? No, nothing for now. We'll think of something. Here's Kevin Joyce and Ken Doyle fighting once again. 2 YouTube extraordinaires, and Kevin Joyce is going to lunge down the inside in towards turn number 8. Nice move from Kevin Joyce, as Ken Doyle is down to 10th position, unfortunately, and Kevin recovering from an opening lap mistake through turn number 6, but he's back up to 9th spot for now. So Dylan still in the lead, managing this race very well. Camto hasn't touched the button yet, so he is managing that excellently in the slipstream. Slipstream is worth about, is from about one and a half seconds back here at some of the straights at Road America. So Camto doing an excellent job, as there goes Jan Zouteveld, and the Dutchman has spun, and he has hit the barrier. Very weird one. We just saw a smoke screen go up, very Bertie Ahern-esque, but he's not able to get that car back going, it seems. Here's a Gantry TV replay, as that is through the Canada corner, heading up the hill. So we're right on board with the man in his swim shorts. I think we all envy a little bit here, as he touched the curb on the outside. Very, very weird mistake. Seemed to carry a bit too much speed, didn't get the car slowed down in time. But, yeah, rather strange error from Jean Zouteveld. Ronan, what do you make of that one? Sam is asking about your well-being.
Trapped in a glass case of emotion with some milk. No, that was most likely Jan just getting a little bit too friendly with his accelerator pedal there, and that just chucked him around. I think he was starting to see that he was pulling a small bit on Dylan, but yeah, joins the ranks of Jordan Kelly, I'm afraid.
Yeah, disappointing one for Jan Zouteveld. So Dylan McClellan's now leads by 1.3 seconds. We've settled into a rhythm here in Road America, which is not really what we want. We want entertainment. And we want a scintillating affair. If you are choosing us over the FIFA World Cup, the excellent news is that Ghana are holding England to a 0-0 draw approaching half time. So, yeah, big thanks to our Ghanaian brothers for that one. Ronan Hedderman, who historically has a big interest in football. Ronan, are you enjoying the World Cup so far?
No.
Who did you get in the work sweepstake?
Very good. Very good.
See, that's
Very
funny
funny.
because he runs his own business.
Yeah. And
Just expected you to.
have two people. Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
And it's 1.5 because Rob kind of works from home.
hmm Yeah. I'm gonna say Chad.
There's 48 teams in the World Cup. You couldn't name one of them. I actually just said two. Chad. Who? Right. Actually, right. Little game for you folks at home. Right. We'll announce it after this replay. Um. As we'll take a look at what has occurred. This is Niall Stevens. This is really filling the time, isn't it? As we're down to the calorie. He's just carried too much speed, hasn't he? He has. Yep, I think most people have probably made a mistake like that around here. Right, game for you folks at home. What's the first track that comes to your mind? So the first country that came to Heather Doodle's mind was Chad for some reason. He probably thinks he's a Chad, but he's not. Um, so what's the first track that comes to your mind? And why do you reckon it's the first? So if you say racetrack to me, the first thing that comes to my mind is Spa. And I think that could be a lot of people's. As we're looking at Kevin Joyce down towards Adam Dowling, the more I speak about this game, the worse it gets. And the more Kevin Joyce thinks about that move, the worse it gets. And there was contact at the apex there. And Adam Dowling has careered off into the beach. And Adam was running a career best 8th, I think, in the indyNXT. As we'll take another look at this one. So down through the right-hander. As we'll take a look into the Canada corner. So Adam was leaving Kevin the door wide open. And Kevin just moves across. Oh, could have just been a bit of neck code there, potentially. Didn't look to be contact on Kevin Joyce's end. As, yeah, disappointing. As, here we go. Harvey Dara and Kamto Chukwa. Kamto has got the move done there, and Kamto, who was managing his push to pass excellently, now somehow has a lot less than his two rivals. So Dylan McClemens is into the race lead. Kamto Chukwa well, Dylan McClemens has always been in the race lead, still in the race lead. Kamto Chukwa is now up to second ahead of Harvey Dara, and Kamto has managed this race excellently. As we have good to see you all taking part in my absolutely silly time filler game as we're looking at Harvey Dara for the carousel. When he's in a similar situation to this, he made the mistake in heat number 3 or heat number 1 at a similar time as well. As he always ran it close to the grass there, to be fair. But he will have the slipstream through the king. And oh no, stick with second. Stick with the battle for second. As now, here we go. Kamto Chukwa is defending from Harvey Dara. Watch, there won't be a move after all of this. And where's Harvey going to go for it? He's wobbled, he's wiggled. And yeah, thanks Harvey. I suppose this is why Hederman is the official broadcast director. Gravel on the tyres. There seems to be gravel on everyone's tyres heading through that corner. A lot of debris, a lot of shree down on the ground. And through the final corner. Excellent exit from Kamto. On the button. 4 seconds left, but I suppose if he can start pulling a gap in the middle sector, he won't need that push to pass. It's down the main straight they go, or up the main straight rather, with the elevation change. Harvey will not be close enough. Eddie Shredder saying Daytona is his go-to track. Sam saying Ronan Hederman's Driveway International Circuit. Okay, as Jordan Kelly and Tony Griffin now finally come to blows. It was inevitable, and that time it was the car on the outside. We're not even getting the stinger this time. We're just going straight back to look at it. As let's see, Tony Griffin. I think that one could be on Jordan Kelly. I don't know what you think of it, Ronan, but I think you are in agreement.
Yep, definitely a boop. There was definitely contact there.
A boop.
Maybe if we look back at it, there's probably the slightest bit of netcode, but I think that was contact.
I would agree. I think Tony tried to do what Jordan did on the outside on a couple of laps previous, but he left Jordan a lot more room to pull off that move. Well, he killed Ken in the process, but uh, Jordan not leaving him a lot of room to go around the outside. This battle for second still continuing in what could be a big one. Big 2 points on the line here in this, in terms of the championship. Harvey Darren needs all the points he can get after a disastrous heat number one. There's 5 tenths of a second between these two. We will just about have one more lap here. Dylan doesn't have the gap to slow it down and make this the last lap, so he's got to go for one more. He will get the white flag up the hill. It'll only be by a handful of seconds. So, a very quick race here by Dylan McClemens. Real fight is the fight for second between Kamto Chukwa and Harvey Dara. There is Barney the flagman waving with intention. And here comes Harvey Dara down the inside. Wow, that was very easy for the number 6. And Harvey Dara is up to second place now. That was exceptional from Harvey. Just used the push to pass and still has 10 seconds to use. So this is where push to pass management is so crucial. Kamto Chukwa doesn't have any, but he does have the slipstream, and Harvey Dara is avoiding the button. There is a respite period, of course, and here comes Kamto Chukwa looking for it down the outside. He's got to be brave. He's got to be very brave. He is brave indeed, but Harvey Dara will hit the apex nicely and will remain in front. The next attempt for Kamto will be into the Canada corner, so he's got to nail this next sector, nail the kink and the carousel, and get a real good run into the Canada corner where he can potentially lunge one down the inside. But Harvey Dara only has a handful more corners to try and survive if he wants to remain in front in this race and take a very valuable second position. It does, of course, mean Kamto will start on the row ahead of him in the reverse grid race, but you can overtake around here in Road America. That is what we're seeing. Harvey is now on the button, and Kamto Chukwa is falling further behind due to it. Harvey, of course, with an extra 50 brake horsepower, and that will soar him down the straight. And that is why your push to pass management is so crucial in these IndyNXT machines. You need every bit of advantage that you can get. Kamto braking a lot later than Harvey, but Harvey just had the gap due to that extra push to pass. And bar any mistake for the final couple of corners, he will take second. But Dylan McClements will come home to take his second win of the evening. There's been not much success in heat number 2 for Dylan. That is a lot smoother showing, and he will start from 8th in heat number 3, but be looking to take a hat-trick of race victories. Harvey Dara is in second, Kamto Chukwa in third, Lee Cogan will come home in fourth. Excellent result for Lee. Jordan Kelly comes home in fifth after committing murder on Tony Griffin. Kevin Joyce comes home in sixth, and it will be Ken Doyle in seventh. Good recovery from Kevin Joyce. He was off on the first lap, remember. Tony Griffin comes home in eighth, and Dara O'Connor in ninth. Adam Dowling will come home in 10th. There was no real recovery for Zoutevella, as Jean Zoutevella will only come home in 11th ahead of Ronan Keane in 12th. So, despite some making good recoveries, no real recovery for this man, Jean Zoutevella. That means Tony Griffin will be on your reverse pole. He was the only man to end that race in the top 10 with push to pass still available. Ronan Keane didn't bother using up the end of his either, but I suppose he wasn't really fighting with anyone, so it was just a case of keeping it on the track and avoiding the disqualification for Ronan Keane. But we will run you through your official results and then have a few interviews with our top 3, Dylan being the victor in both races. So far as Sam saying with a Drive to Survive reference. What Drive to Survive reference did I make? And Eddie Shredder rightfully pointing out that T1 to T4 could be mental in the next race, but it is Dylan McClements on top once again. Harvey Dara in second, Kamto Chukwa in third, Lee Cogan in fourth, Jordan Kelly then in fifth. Then it's Kevin Joyce, Ken Doyle, Tony Griffin, Dara O'Connor, Adam Dowling, Jan Zoutevella, and Ronan Keane. Let's bring in your race winner, Dylan McClements. Dylan, massive congratulations. 2 from 2, and you have put the Heat 2 woes behind you with a fairly comfortable drive there.
Yeah, good 2 races. Not the best of qualifying. So I was on a fast lap, but then messed up in the start. So I'll probably need to work on for a third race. But last time we here I took 3 wins. I'm gonna try replicate that.
How are you finding racing in the heat this evening?
It's pretty bad, but the past couple of nights I've been doing it because since the Skip Barber series last Thursday, I don't think it helps I'm in an attic, but finding it is tough, but probably not as much as others.
Now, for Heat 3, of course, you have had the benefit of starting on the front row in each of our first two races. You have to start from 8th now. Is it a typical Dylan McClemens send-it approach, or is there any tactics behind this one?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna send it. It's highest Heat 3 grid that I've been on the past 3 weeks, and I've won the rest, so should be easier, I hope, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Dylan, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck for Heat 3.
Cheers.
So we will bring in our second place man, Harvey Dara, to join us now. Harvey, congratulations. Second place in heat number 2. We'll start with heat number 2 and the benefits of that one. You managed your push to pass excellently, and that seemed to help you on the last lap.
Yeah, I think I've really improved with the push to pass over the season. I think it was really from Miami where I was battling Dylan, where I realized I need to manage it better. Just always keeping a wee bit just in case you need to defend it. On the last lap, and we just need to defend from Campto, so that was good.
Yeah, then we do have to talk about heat 1. A
Oh dear.
bit of a loss in points for you. What happened?
Um,
We know what happened, but what's your take on it?
I think it was the second last lap, and I came out of the carousel, I think it's called, and I just dumped the push to pass too early. It pushed me wide, and then I dipped the wheel in the grass, saw myself going for the wall, put it in reverse, and then floored it in reverse, got it back from the wall, and then I kept going. But then my tires were completely wrecked, and then I tried to go around the outside of it. Maybe it was like Dara O'Connor, and it just not did not stick. I just broke at the same place I always would, and it just did not stick. So it was not good at all.
Yeah, as a man who has great control of a single-seater racer, do you think there should be a drifting class of this car?
Oh yeah, yeah. But like maybe even on a dirt track, that'll be even better.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm running an agenda on the broadcast tonight, and you've significantly helped with that. Harvey, best of luck for heat number 3.
Thank you very much.
So, at least I didn't drag myself into the interview room this time. Let's hear it from third place, Kamto Chukwa. Kamto, congratulations. Another pole, another podium. You're really hooking up qualifying these days.
Yeah, it's been a surprise video. Like that lap I did today was probably the best lap I've ever done. Like I tried to match it again and I was 200s off it. So it was nice to get pole again. But Dylan is too quick. I killed my tires in that first race, and then the second race I thought it was the last lap, so I slowed down and Harvey got through. So it's kind of
You
been
did it, Dylan.
yeah, I did exactly what Dylan did. So I was kind of annoyed with myself because I saw white on my screen. I thought that was the last lap. So I slowed down and then Harvey just went straight by me and Dylan didn't slow down because Dylan usually slows down on that straight. So when I realized that it was too late because Harvey got past.
In terms of heat 3, then, reverse grid, you start in front of Dylan and Harvey. How do you think you can beat them?
I need to just manage the tires because that's been the biggest struggle I've had so far. Like I killed my tires in race one within 7 minutes. So if I can manage the tires better, then I should be able to have a chance against the two of them.
Kamto, let's go for heat number 3. Best of luck.
Thanks, Evan.
So, Ronan, question for you. Have you ever slowed down a lap too early in an iRace? Because I haven't, and I don't understand how our best racers in this field keep doing it.
Neither do I. In fairness, it's happened to one of our good friends. This is before your time when actually it was Kevin and Jack that used to broadcast, and we had a Brian McManus start doing celebratory donuts on the last lap in an off section of track, and we still to this day remind them every couple of weeks.
Did I tell you I accidentally met Jack and didn't realise it was him?
No.
We were in the same hotel in Cork, and I, for the whole time, I was there, like, I'm like, God, he looks awful like Jack Canan. And then I said it to Kevin one night, and I said, is Jack in a choir? There was some choir saying in Cork, and he goes, Yeah, no, he is. And I was like, oh my god, it was Jack Canan. I didn't say
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Jack hung up the commentary boots quite a
You
while
know,
ago.
his melodic tones. Let me and Heatherman get a few scoops into us, and then we can sing on the stream. But Tony Griffin
Absolutely,
and
Ben.
Ken Doyle on the front row here for heat number 3. Kevin Joyce, Jordan Kelly behind, and now we go racing for the final time in Road America. And this could be chaos down towards the first corner. And Captain Chukwa is already past Ken Doyle, but the Kerryman leads in through turn number 1. Kevin Joyce on the inside, and Lee Cogan is looking for the outside here. And Ken Doyle is still in amongst the mix, but Captain Chukwa is all elbows out, trying to get in front and get an advantage over Harvey Dara and Dylan McClements. McClements is side by side with Jordan Kelly, and Ken Doyle losing out on the outside too, the double time winner tonight. He's looking for another hat trick here in Road America, and Lee Cogan is in the side draft of Captain Chukwa, and now looking for it on Kevin Joyce. And we're almost 3 wide to the apex, and if you think back to the Porsche Cups, this was the corner where it all went wrong. Is it going to go wrong again here in the indyNXT? No, it isn't. We're all mostly safely through. Camto Chukwa has run very wide though, and he's falling down the order. It's disaster for Camto, who's now behind Dylan McClemens and Harvey Dara. Got such an excellent getaway. He said he needed to manage his tyres, but unfortunately he's not managed to stay on the asphalt, and Lee Cogan is still fighting with Dylan McClemens. Harvey Dara looking to slip a fiver into his trouser pockets to keep Dylan behind, and Dylan has made a mistake all on his own, so Lee Cogan might well get past, but it's going to be a very tricky move around the outside of the carousel, and Lee Cogan is still pushing and pushing, but not able to get past through. And Camto Chukwa is now side by side with him, and Camto may feel it's a necessity to get past through the kink, but he cannot do so. He'll back out, stay in the slipstream, try a move down the inside into the Canada corner. This is for the race lead. This is for second, Kevin Joyce and Harvey Dara, and Harvey Dara goes for the outside. Joyce still on the inside. We know he doesn't like to give up. Dylan McClemens round the outside of Lee Cogan. He's now up to fourth position. Still Kevin Joyce and Harvey Dara side by side, and Kevin Joyce runs it the long way around the outside, uses all of the curb, uses all of the grass, uses all of his bravery, and Kevin Joyce, he's got in front and he's pinned it. Kevin Joyce round into the wall. He got the move done. It was a piece of excellence, piece of racing beauty, and then unfortunately spins it immediately, was too eager to get the run down the straight, and it all goes spinning for Kevin Joyce down the order. Oh, so disappointing. Jordan Kelly and Camto Chukwa now side by side, and Jordan Kelly is on the outside of Chukwa down towards what is known as turn number 3 here at Road America. That's going to be a very difficult one for Jordan Kelly to pull off. He's got to be careful not to run the grass on the exit as down in towards the Moraine sweep. It's Tony Griffin in the lead, then Dylan McClemens second, Harvey Dara in third, and now we've a race on our hands because Tony leads by 3 seconds, and we know Tony, he can manage races. It's not something too unfamiliar to him. But wow, what a start to Heat 3 action here in Road America. The push to pass is now enabled, and this brilliant circuit, it deserves a brilliant final race. And it's got one so far. Jordan Kelly side by side with Camto Chukwa. And Kelly will have to just sit behind Camto, I should say. And Camto will be looking for the exit out of the carousel to potentially get the launch on Lee Cogan. They've all got to manage their push to pass very well here. 65 seconds across 20 minutes is not a long time when you see someone almost overtaking you. Your instinct is to hit the button, but you've just got to manage it. Remember that the last lap could decide it all here in Elkhart Lake. Jordan Kelly is still behind Camto. Remember throughout this heat, folks, to consider your driver of the day nominations. I so far would be leaning towards Lee Cogan, but let us know if you have any suggestions, and of course they will all be taken into consideration when we are deciding our Gantry TV driver of the day towards the end of the night. Jordan Kelly is in the slipstream of Camto down towards the first corner. Jean Zoudzevella and Ken Doyle are battling as well, and the Dutchman is looking to fly through the field. Jean up 4 places so far in this one, but he's not your biggest gainer. That belongs to the prodigy Dylan McClemens in second spot, and Harvey Dara is still right behind Dylan McClemens, nip and tuck. Dylan had the fastest lap on the last lap, but Harvey still within the slipstream, has more push to pass, so is managing this race well. Is his fellow Antrim native Camto now on the inside of Lee Cogan. Jordan will look to follow through, but Jordan a sensible racer and will only go for the move when it feels best fit. That is not now, so he will stay behind Kogan for the time being and hope Camto doesn't drive off into the distance. But we could have our 4 championship contenders battling here. If Jan Zouteveld somehow finds a way to get up the front, he could join them. We could have our top 5 in the championship fighting for the win, which would be remarkable. Unfortunately, we can't have all top 6, Sean, not here this evening. But it's been a good first quarter of this race so far. Gap up the front has stabilised, and Tony Griffin is doing an excellent job here in this one. Despite Dylan McClemens being 4/10 of a second faster than him on the last lap, it is Tony who is leading, and Harvey Dara has got ahead of Dylan McClemens now. So Harvey is finally putting it all together here in Elkhart Lake, and he is ahead of Dylan McClemens. And Dylan will now have to work for this one for the first time really this evening. Of course, he's working when he's leading the race, but being able to drive to your own circumstances is very different than having to overtake someone. And we saw Dylan sideways out of the final corner. He's now in the slipstream, not using the push to pass. He will stay behind for the time being, and he's not going to be close enough for lunch here. No, not by any stretch. So Harvey Dara will remain in front for another handful of corners at least, till maybe we get down towards turn number 4. It's Griffin, Dara, McClemens, Chukwa, Kelly, your top 5. Lee Cogan still within touching distance, as is Jan Zouteveld. And all this battling is helping Jan Zouteveld catch up to the pack. No move for Jordan Kelly. He did get past Lee Cogan, but he will remain behind Camto Chukwa for the time being. All sorts of grass and dust being flicked up from the exit of this corner. It's a very tricky track, very high speed, and every little misinput costs you lap time due to the not very wide runoffs on the majority of the corners. Look how heavy Jordan Kelly brakes to get all the braking done before the corner. He's a very unique braking technique on the simulator, does Jordan Kelly. An unbelievable driver. It just adapts to any machine that he's in. Stick him in the cross car, he'll be on the pace with the top eye racers of that category. Stick him on a dirt oval, he might just give that a go as well. Such a naturally talented racing driver. Chance Zouteveld seems to be as well. He is catching Lee Cogan, and all our top 7 are running very steady, very consistent. We're not even getting a lot of off tracks. The most anyone has is 4, and that boat is shared by your race leader and last in the race, Tony Griffin and Adam Dowling. But no one is off the pack here. We're all still relatively concise for Heat 3 standards. And Tony Griffin leads by 2.9 seconds, and the gap is not really closing. It's close to a handful of tenths on that last lap. 3 tenths the difference between the 2 lap times, almost 3 tenths exactly between Tony Griffin and Harvey Dara. It was a 50.787 for Tony Griffin, 50.488 for Harvey Dara, with McClemens on a 50.5, but he is sat behind Harvey Dara, so his lap times will be a little bit skewed. There's Ken Doyle. Disappointing for Doyle. He will fall down to 9th, almost out of the top 10. That's a Samsung driver of the day, Kevin Galvin. Yeah, he's pulled a pin at McCann, not showed up, which is disappointing. But we soldier on for the remainder of heat number 3. We're more disappointed in the box because we're not too sure Kevin actually knew it was Road America this evening instead of Laguna Seca, and we wanted to pull that joke off. Although, I think it's only fair that we do mention what we were going to mention, and that is on the topic of concerts. Ronan Herdeman, I'll let you get a little bit of stick. That's probably owed to our good friend Evan Walsh. Whose concert did he enjoy at the weekend?
I believe he went to see CMAT, and we have it on good authority that he quite enjoyed it.
I believe he sat outside the stadium during the CMAT concert. Didn't actually get to see. Just going by the Instagram story. Which,
yeah, it was either CMAT or Zach Bryan. He didn't get into one or the other.
No, yeah, could have been Zach Bryan maybe that he was sat outside, but he did enjoy CMAT. Moment of silence for that complete. We'll get back to the racing as Harvey Dara is defending from Dylan McClellan. Sorry, for all the stick I gave Zach Bryan tonight, I'm very aware that no one cares about my music opinions. CMAT is much worse. Jordan Kelly is dropping down the order. There is Jan's out develop, missing a wheel. There is Jan in pieces. And what has happened there, and I imagine Jordan Kelly has something to do with this. As this is down towards turn number 1. That is Jordan behind Jan. And that's Jordan behind Camto, I should say. This is Jan. Oh no, there we go. That was Jordan Ricochet O'Kelly. Jordan Ricochet Kelly. Once again, and that's quite scary. I gave him that nickname earlier on. This is what happened. He's lost it through turn number 1. Bounced back in front of the track, and we might go for an onboard there with Jan, but there's literally no way to avoid Jordan. Jordan is bouncing back across after hitting the concrete at ferocious speed. I suppose that was a bit like Netflix when you just rewind way too far back. But here comes Jan. There goes Jordan round. What is he supposed to do? That's so unfortunate for the Dutchman. Like, he hadn't a hope. He had not got a hope. And Lee Cogan did very, very well to not get collected in that one as well. And yeah, disappointing for both Jordan and Jan, sorry. Wow. So, back to what is happening live, and it is Dylan McClemens, Harvey Dara, and Camto Chukwa, your free championship contenders, who are the peloton in this race. We have the Tour de France coming up, so it's only fair we have the Tour de France references returning. They have the peloton chasing the sole leader. That is Tony Tade Griffin. I can't imagine there's many cycling fans watching, but it is Tony Griffin, who leads by 3.2 seconds, but a good point in the comments from someone who it has escaped me, but it was Eddie who said Tony needs to leave the push to pass alone until Harvey starts gaining. Great point. He can't use it too much because Harvey is just waiting and Dylan is waiting to burn it. And you can see Dylan just clicking the button there. Amto doing an excellent job on the push to pass once again, but he burned it all in one go. Last heat, can't afford to do that again. Needs to save that a little bit more. Needs to remember when the last lap actually is. That would be ideal for Tony. Or for Camto, sorry. Tony, I suppose that's the lesson to anyone really, is to wait until the race is actually finished. As there's Adam Dowling, not having as much success in Road America as maybe he would in the Clio. Running the old Renault livery is Adam Dowling, but himself and Peter McCann, Renault enthusiasts. I feel like I'm commentating the Action Day again, just constantly talking about Adam and Peter and their Clios, but Harvey Dara still on the tail of Dylan McClemens. Ronan, if you were in this scenario, what would you be thinking?
It's a game of patience, isn't it? And like it's also, it's like battleships. Nobody knows how much the other person actually has left. It's a game of, I don't know if this guy's got 60 seconds left or 10 seconds left. So yeah, it's a tough one, but I think these guys have it relatively figured out. I'd say with how close they've been actually racing this entire time, they're probably watching when they pull away the slightest amount, so they know that when they're burning it. So I'd say they're approximating. But yeah, it's going to be whoever makes the first mistake. Yep.
Oh, there's a mistake from Camto, as he almost got the move done and then bobbled his way back onto the circuit, almost collided with Harvey Dara. And look, as soon as one little bit of battle occurs, how the gap extends to Dylan McClemens in front. And Dylan is starting to crack the whip a little bit here, and he's starting to catch Tony Griffin. It's very Dylan McClemens-esque circumstances, isn't it? Very similar to Watkins Glen. When Dylan is in a scenario such as this, it's almost a case of when he catches, not if he catches. If we're going to reference him to American racing, It would be very Shane Van Gisbergen-esque at Watkins Glen in the NASCAR, where it's when he catches can Tony Griffin defend, not if he catches. He has breathing space now. Some drivers run very well with other drivers. I'd say me at my... oh no, Tony's gone off! Tony's gone off! And Tony Griffin's round! And there it is! It's not a case of when Dylan McClemmons catches. It's a case of when Tony Griffin crumbles. And that is oh so unfortunate for the Kerry man, who has spun while in the race lead here at Road America. And another win in RTA Virtual Motorsport has unfortunately gone a-begging for Kerry's Tony Griffin, who is down to 5th position behind Lee Cogan. Dylan McClemmons leads by 2.7 seconds. He's looking to become the first ever RTA Virtual Motorsport driver to take 2 hat-tricks at the same venue. In the last 3 years, Harvey Dara is trying to defend from Kamto Chukwa, and Kamto is into the slipstream now down towards the left-hander once again. He's not going to try the brave move around the outside. He's going to almost take too much of that apex there, which is rather ironic given what happened at this stage back in the Porsche Cup at this circuit, where it was a slip off the apex. But let's take a look at the heartbreaking moment that Kerry's Tony Griffin lost the race lead. This is going to be very Jordan Kelly-esque, isn't it? He just carried too much speed through there. Went round. It's the kind of mistake where you're pondering what actually went wrong. You didn't necessarily do anything different, but it could be a couple of percent on the brakes, or a couple of seconds, milliseconds even too early back on the throttle. That just rotates the car around. And unfortunately for Tony, it was enough to send him off into the grass and behind our top 3 and behind Lee Hogan. But he's going to put the head down maybe and now try catch for an extra couple of points. But points don't really matter when you unfortunately lose a race win in the circumstances that Tony has lost it. So very disappointing for Tony Griffin. It's not going to be an easy evening to get off the sim for any of these drivers given the heat. But certainly Tony will be a bit disappointed in that what could have been. But here's Kamto Chukwa in the slipstream of Harvey Dara once again. 10 more seconds of push to pass for Kamto Chukwa. Is he going to save that until the race end? He's done an excellent job of being patient on the button this heat. I imagine he will save it until the end of the race. Tony is almost drained out. As we just look at him heading through turn number 3 now. It's down the straight towards the Moraine sweep, as Kamto Chukwa is going to go for the outside here. And look how close these two are getting. Kamto even clipping the grass. But he goes for the outside once again. Not able to get past. And Kamto doesn't want to fall victim of being a one-trick pony here. The definition of insanity, as they say. Or is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Making a great point. Were you over the stream there, Ronan? Oh, he wasn't. So Ronan saying if he does it the next lap, Harvey will have no push to pass to use. And that would leave Kamto with the extra 50 horsepower boost for him and him only. And Harvey has to defend towards the Canada corner. We will only have one more lap after this. This could well be the white flag for Dylan, for Harvey, for Kamto. As we see Dylan through the Bill Mitchell bend and round through the final corner. This should be the white flag, realistically. As yet, there it is. Flagman Barney waving vigorously once again. As down towards the first corner comes Harvey and comes Kamto. And Kamto Chukwa would really like to get one over Harvey Dara once again after Harvey got past him on the last lap. And they're coming side by side in towards the first corner. And Kamto Chukwa is trying to thread the needle here, but he's not able to get past. It's been the outside that Kamto's gone for in towards turn number 4, but they're ducking and dicing their way in through turn number 3 on to the second straight here in Road America. Down towards the Moraine sweep. Harvey Dara is out of push to pass the system. distance, and Kamto Chukwa is going to breeze past, but he still has 4 seconds left in the tank, and it's a total swap of what they were like in heat number 2. Harvey now goes for the outside, trying the up and under, but Kamto Chukwa defends really well in through the left-hander, and he's not able to get past his Harvey Dara. It'll be the run down through the kink towards Canada corner, where Harvey will have to try get past, but Kamto, of course, has 2 crucial seconds left on the push to pass. In through Harry Downs, through turn number 8. Dylan McClement's bar a mistake has the win in the back pocket, but this could be a crucial fight for championship points. It'll only be 2 in the difference, but they could be all it comes down to. Now, through the kink, they've got through the carousel well. Harvey Dara will most certainly be getting a monster slipstream, and they need to avoid a Graham Rahal willpower incident down through here. Harvey Dara's ran long on the brakes a couple of times in through Canada corner. He doesn't take the risk that he took in heat number 1. Ended up 8 did Harvey Dara, and now bar a miracle in through the Thunder Valley and the Bill Mitchell bend. He will not be able to take the result off Kamto Chukwa, but he's going to go for it anyways, down the inside, and he forces Kamto Chukwa wide, and they almost come to blows, and it's going to be the run up the hill. Dylan McClemens has made another hat-trick here in RTA Virtual Motorsport, but Kamto Chukwa will persevere on the final lap in heat number 3 to take second. What a result for Kamto to stay in front of Harvey Dara there. Lee Cogan will come home in 4th. Tony with a recovery to 5th. Once again, it's a case of what could have been for Tony Griffin as he spun from the lead halfway through this race. Dara O'Connor in 6th. Kevin Joyce in 7th. Ken Doyle will come home in 8th. What a brilliant evening of racing, despite such a small number of drivers, but it was certainly quality over quantity here this evening. We've had 3 excellent races at Elkhart Lake, and what an excellent effort by these drivers. Ronan Keane will bring it home. Let us know your driver of the day nominees, of course, in the chat, folks. A couple of nominees maybe today, a couple of strong performances, but it is Dylan domination once again. We're just waiting for Ronan Keane to trundle home at a nice, cool, casual pace, one not usually seen by race cars. Well, we're not seeing this race car at all as we look at the nice Wisconsin trees. As there is Ronan Keane once again at a much slower pace of life now is Ronan Keane, recently engaged, planning a life, and will just be nice and smooth through the final corners. I feel like I am a jazz radio presenter as Ronan Keane brings us up towards the start finish line. Whenever you're ready, Ronan. So there we go. Takes the checker in 9th place. And now that the eulogy is done, it is Dylan McClements that takes the race win with Kamto Chukwa in 2nd, Harvey Dara in 3rd, Lee Cogan in 4th, Tony Griffin comes home in 5th, and Dara O'Connor in 6th, Kevin Joyce in 7th. Then it is Ken Doyle in 8th, ahead of Ronan Keane, Adam Downing, Jordan Kelly, Niall Stevens, and very unfortunate for Jean Z Development. Let's hear from Dylan McClements. Dylan, 2 different styles of cars, 2 very different evenings, 2 hat-tricks at Road America. How does that one feel?
Yeah, it feels really good. I was definitely should have got it in Miami, so made up for that. So definitely a good night's racing, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going.
In terms of the championship now, that puts you in a very good position. Taking the maximum points tonight puts you back within touching distance of Harvey Dara after he had a difficult heat number 1. I imagine championship is always the ambition for you, but what do you need to do over the last 2 rounds to try and take it?
Well, I'm gonna try not to look at the championship as much and just try to do the same next 2 rounds as I did tonight, and try win them all, get the maximum points, and then see where we end up.
Reflecting on this evening, then, is it mentally challenging for you to drive on your own so much? Because bar maybe the start of the races, there wasn't much battling you had to do, but it was still phenomenal lap after phenomenal lap after phenomenal lap. What mentality do you have to keep pushing like that, even when, okay, you're leading by so many seconds, you're probably not going to get catched?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't pushing as much as I did in Heat 1 and 2 after I had a gap. In Heat 3, the car just felt unreal, to be honest. It was on rails. And I thought, just why not? Try getting the 49s because I hadn't been in it. And I nearly got in the last lap, but I got it in, won the Madrid race.
Pushing for the fastest lap of the night on the last lap as you take a hat trick. I think that describes you perfectly, Dylan. Congratulations, 3 excellent race wins tonight.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll bring in our second place man, Kamto Chukwuemeka. Kamto, congratulations. It is second place. A bit of a difficult start to the race, though. You started initially very well, but then fell down the order.
Yeah, I tried to go around the outside of Kevin and I was ahead, but then as I turned into the corner, my front left locked up. So by the time I got to the corner, I was ahead of Kevin, but then by the time I was actually at the corner, I was not making the corner. So I thought I was going to be fine, but then I went over the grass and my car literally shot up into the air. So I thought I was actually going to either spin into the wall or spin back onto the track. But I just got off the throttle and just let everyone else around me go because I didn't want to absolutely kill like half the grid for my own mistake.
Yeah, you mentioned in the interview, of course, beforehand that you're going to have to do a lot of management of the car in heat number 2. Do you feel you achieved that?
I'd say so, yeah. The tires felt a lot better than race one. The push to pass as well, I managed that better as well compared to the first race. No, the second race actually. So I managed it better. It's just that if I didn't have the mistake, it's more like a what could have been. But you know, after the mistake I made in that second race of you know, getting off the throttle a lap too early, driving this in like 29 degrees temperature, I'm happy at least to get 3 podiums again. It's just annoying that Dylan took away my 3 wins last week and then he's going ahead to take 3 wins today.
Yeah, in terms of the championship, it's still very close between the three of you. How do you see the next 2 weeks going?
Um, I don't think I'm in a championship fight because I was over 100 points behind Harvey going into this one, and I know I finished out of him 2 of the races, but that's only a 4 point gain. So unless there's a massive crash for Harvey, like in race one, and the same way it did in for last week, where I gained like I think 25 points, the only way I'm going to get close is by drivers ahead of me making mistakes because I have that penalty that's not going to count as a drop round. So I'm going to have a big loss in points there as well. So I'm just going to keep driving. I'm not worried about the championship really because I don't think I'm in it. But it doesn't mean I won't try for it. Like obviously I raced Dylan hard, I raced Harvey hard. I wanted to race Tony, but then he unfortunately spun. So I'm just going to keep driving as if I am in a championship fight. But I know I'm not really in one realistically, so I don't really mind how the races go as long as I can walk away from the race and be happy with it.
Kamto, speaking as excellently as always, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Evan.
So great to hear Kamto's insight there, and we will hear the man who he beat in heat number 3, Harvey Dara. Harvey, congratulations! Another podium for yourself. Are you happy with how this evening went?
The last 2 races, yeah, but I suppose the first race could have been a lot worse with that near miss with the wall. Could have DNF'd. So, you know, you can't finish perfectly every single race. So, be honest, I'm not really that annoyed. Like these things happen. You can't be perfect for how many rounds of the races there are. So I'm happy enough.
We were just looking at the highlights of lap 1 there, where Kevin pulled off a blinder of a move and then spun right in front of you. Um, like, did you even notice it happening? Was it just a split-second decision to get around him?
Well, I think I gave him a wee nudge maybe into try to go around his outside into that Canada corner, and then I gave him a wee nudge into the next one. So he gave me another wee nudge into the last corner. So I backed out of it because I just knew it wasn't going anywhere, and then he just spun. So yeah, I just knew he was going to go right. So yeah, I just went left and passed him, I guess.
Championship leader coming into tonight. You've never won RTA Championship. How can you over the next 2 weeks?
More practice, I think. More practice and just being a wee bit more consistent with lap times and a bit better tire management, and maybe looking at the push to pass as well. We'd be better in that. I just need to be a bit more focused in the race, I think. And but that last race was good, to be fair. So especially that first lap. So honestly, I just need to finish cleanly, and I'll be fine.
Harvey, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
So good to hear from all our podium guys, but we haven't addressed the elephant in the room, and that is our Country TV driver of the day. And we kind of had one vote for everyone, really. But so I'm going to take the deciding decision, if you don't mind, as a kind of a reward for deciding this evening without cancelling the whole broadcast. And that is going to go to Lee Cogan. So a massive congratulations to Lee. One of his best nights in RTA so far. Very steady showing. So congratulations, Lee Cogan, who is our Gantry TV driver of the day this evening. But that's all we have time for here, folks. And thank you very much for joining us on what is a very hot evening in Ireland and across Europe. But we will be back next week from Virginia. We'll have Sebring after that to round out the RTA Virtual Motorsport indyNXT series. So, thank you very much for joining us, folks. Please make sure to check out rtavirtualmotorsport.com, as well as our fabulous sponsors. Make sure to check out the Sim Consultants. Make sure to check out Gamerfests, albeit they hasn't been on in the last, or won't be on in the next few weeks. Make sure to check them out. Sim Consultants' new beautiful website, which has all our lovely faces on it. I suppose I have to mention Boa Motorsport, really, because Kevin isn't here, but you can go see the various ramblings over there. And make sure to subscribe to Gantry TV here, folks. But for now, we will be joining you next week, next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Bye bye.